Well, Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha. Yes, it is Yom Arba'ah, and I'm so thankful to be here. Yes, we're here, and we're going to have just a wonderful time. Yes, talking about, again, we're taking you through the commandments. We're taking you through the covenant. We're taking you into that snapshot of the entire covenant that the Most High has given to each and every one of us. We are actually going into the covenant itself, and out of this we're putting a nation back together. We're putting our people back together. We are putting our lives back together. We're going to talk about it. It's wonderful. We're absolutely going to talk about it. It's great. I'm glad that you all are here. You're coming into the room now. You know what, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to get this thing started. How about that?
See, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out and to pull down, to destroy and to throw down, to build and to plant.
Yes, we are back and we're giving praises to the Most High. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Let's look away to Him. Hallelujah. Baruch atah, oh, blessed are you, O Most High. We honor you, we praise you. For you've brought us to this time, to this day. We thank you. We ask that you would look upon us with love and compassion and mercy and forgive us, for you are our Elohim of salvation and mercy. Forgive us for sins. Forgive us for sins. Forgive us any sins that we may have committed. We humbly bow the knee of our hearts before you and we say, forgive us, and give us your mercy, your grace. Our hearts are open. The eyes and the ears of our hearts are open before you. And we ask now that you help us and teach us. In your name, Yah. Aman wa aman. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. Yes, it is. And you know what? We're just going to go ahead and magnify the Most High because He is worthy to be praised. So you know what we do? We got to give Him the praise, right? We have to give Him the praise. And we're going to do it. Yes, we are. We're going to do it by going to Psalms 111 and 2. Here we go. We're going in. They are great. pleasure therein, therein. His work is honorable. His work is honorable, honorable. His work is also glorious. His work is glorious, glorious. And his righteousness endures. It endures forever and forever, ever, 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 ever. The works of Yahweh, they are great, great, great. Sought out of all of them, that take pleasures therein, therein. His work is honorable. His work is honorable, honorable. His work is glorious, yes. His work is glorious, glorious. And his righteousness endures. It endures forever, forever, ever, 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 ever. Yeah, give him praise. And his righteousness endures. It endures forever, forever, ever, 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 ever. All right, we got to shut that down. Yep, yep. You know the call-in line is open. You know, I'd love to just praise and magnify the Most High, but we have a lesson that we're going to get into. We have a conversation that we're going to get into. You know the call-in line is open. I don't even have to say it. You know you can call anytime that you want to. I don't even have to say it. So, hey, we're going to have a wonderful discussion. And you know what? I actually like talking about this subject. Yes, I do. Why? Because this is the Seventh Commandment. Okay, this is the Seventh Commandment, and many of you know what the Seventh Commandment is. But just before we go there, I want to give some shout outs. Yes, yes, I do. To my day one, my brother from another mother. Yes, none other than Bergen Paris himself. I'm very delighted that my brother's here. He is the chief moderator. Yes, he is. And helping him, the dynamic duo, Josh and Penny, are with us. Yes, they are. Josh and Penny are with us, and I want to say thank you to those of you that are helping me like they are. I'm telling you, they do a great job at moderating and making sure that everything stays in line. Next in the house was Anime OG TV. My brother was here, yes, and then Kanaya Israel popped in. Bless you and your husband, sweetheart. May the Most High bless both of y'all. And yeah, EJ Love is in the house. EJ Love, so glad that you are here. Glad that my sister EJ Love is here. And also to my brother George Evans is in the house. Roderick is in the house. Who else? Who else? Did I get everybody? Did I get everybody? My brother Adrian. Did I mention my brother Adrian? AC Basilius is in the house. Peace and blessings to you. All my sisters here. Jacqueline E. Bugs. Yep, yep. She's here. I mentioned my brother Adrian. Yep, yep. And yeah, yeah. Damone for you. He's here in the house. Peace and blessings to you. Shabbat shalom to you. And you know what? Yes, we are. I agree with you, my brother George Evans. He says, we in the house. Yes, we are in the house. And I'm so delighted that you are. Listen, it really warms my heart. I'm very glad that you are. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. We know that the Most High is with us. He is one, and we worship him. We praise him and him alone. We do not bow our knee to idols. We do not give consent to a multiplicity of deities. The Most High does not share his glory. He does not share his glory. He does not share his throne. He is sitting alone in the throne, according to the book of Daniel's prophecies, and of course we could go on. But hey, let's get into the topic at hand, because you know what? We got a good one. We got a good one here tonight. We got a good one tonight. Well, what is that? What is that? What is that? Okay, bless you, my sister. She says that she's going to email me soon. Come on and email me, my sister. I would be glad to entertain any question or any comment that you have. Bless you and your husband. And hey, I'm here. I'm here. Let's do this. Let's go into the scriptures. Let's go into the scriptures, and then we're going to go ahead and just proceed. And I'm going to go ahead and do this. We're going to hop right in without any hesitation. We're going in, and we're going into the first and basically the first scripture, which is the commandment itself. And what does it read? What does it read? It reads very simply, this is the seventh commandment, okay? You shall not commit adultery, okay? I know you all are like, hey, that's really simple. At least I was that way too. I'm like, that's really simple. What are we going to say about that? Why would we need to talk about that? Well, as you can see in the lesson, or I should say in the title for this particular session, I asked the question of whether or not there were levels to adultery. Are there levels to adultery? Are there levels to adultery? Well, what I want to do is I'm going to talk about this, and we're going to go into some scriptures, okay? And then we're going to talk about adultery in its many facets and in its many forms. We're going to talk about this, okay? And here we go. We're going in. In fact, we're going back into the scriptures, and we're going to rehearse something. Okay, and it's going to be just a little different, but now we're going to look at the seventh commandment in light of Bereshit chapter 3. Yes, we are. Here we go. We're going in. Notice what it reads here. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Yah Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, hey, so, I'm just asking, did God really say that you are not to eat of every tree in the garden? I mean, is that really what he said? Okay. And the woman said unto the serpent, now let me stop right there, because this begins a dialogue between the serpent and the woman. Now, let me go ahead and say this before we start this. The serpent was not a regular serpent that we would see today crawling on the ground. The serpent has been severely deprecated. It's been cursed. It's been cut off at the knees, truncated, no pun intended. The serpent-like little animal that we see is nothing like what it used to be. Keep in mind, please, that in Eden, which is a place where the serpent did not belong, because if you notice here, let me make this point. The serpent was a beast of the field and not an animal of the garden. Okay? The serpent was a beast of the field and not of the garden. Okay? So he was basically trespassing. He was overstepping his bounds when he entered into the garden and began to have a conversation with the woman. Now, he belonged on the outside, okay? But please keep in mind, since Eden was a spiritual place, there were spiritual beings and heavenly beings walking around in the midst of Gan Eden. Garden of Eden, Gan Eden, was a spiritual place. It was a place where the Most High could walk. There were angels above him crying, holy, holy, holy. I mean, you had a almost like a theatrical kind of a procession. I mean, the Most High was there. And you really have to understand that with everything that was happening, it's not uncommon for Adam and Chava to have been alarmed and even afraid at the coming of the Most High, because he comes with a procession. He comes with the Ophanim and the Seraphim, and he comes with basically grandeur. It's not like he's this dude walking down the street. No, it is a procession of holy beings around him, okay? The glory of the Most High surrounds him. And so it's not anything light, I should say, to hear the Most High coming, right? You can hear the Most High coming because there was fanfare, there were, and so long story short, it was a heavenly place, right? Gan Eden was a heavenly place. And so the being that was there, who I believe that this being was more of a seraphim. It was more of like a I don't believe it is what we see today. I believe it was more like a seraphim. That the seraphim are a class of angels that are serpent-like in their appearance. I'm going to say this. I know people today are just buzzing off this, but I'm going to say this word right here. They were reptilian. Yes, there are an angelic class that are reptilian. I know how that sounds even today, in today's understanding and today's fanfare and fads and so forth and so on. I know how that sounds, but yet it is yet true. So I have to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And so there, I said it. How you like that? So they were serpent-like or reptilian in their appearance. Now, they were also, I'm led to believe that they were also humanoid. They were very intelligent as we read here, but I'm seeing here that there's something deeper than just this somewhat humanoid reptilian being speaking with Chava. Now, I'm going to detail some things here, and I want you to flow along with me. We're going back in. I want you to see this, because the serpent was not like the serpents that we see today, but this was it was a heightened humanoid kind of a being that was very smart, very wise, very cunning, and even had the ability to speak. Well, it is this individual, if you notice, something happened here, and basically, it began in verse number 1. And here's what happened. They began to have a conversation. The woman said unto the serpent, now, here they are, they're having a conversation together, and I'm going to tell you this, in light of human relationships, human hearts, human intimacy, attraction, so forth and so on, conversation is extremely important, right? Ladies, you know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about, because when you are liking someone and you begin to have conversations, and one conversation leads to another conversation, next thing you know, you're on the phone to 2 a.m. in the morning, and no, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. You know what I'm talking about. Conversations, especially when they get into an area of spirituality and intimacy, can lead to certain attractions. And I'm led to believe that there was, I'm going to say this, I'm led to believe that there was some sort of attraction between Chava and the serpent-like individual, even perhaps this particular individual that may have been, some have said that this was an angel, right? Others have said, well, this was just a humanoid kind of a reptilian. Be it whatever it was, based upon the curse, we can kind of see that there must have been some sort of attraction there. You can tell, actually, listen, there's a lot of things hidden in Genesis 3 concerning Chava and the serpent. There's a lot of things hidden that are only hinted to and only shown to us when we look at the curses that Elohim put upon Chava and the serpent. So then look at this, check this out. As we go back in, Chava is having a conversation with the serpent. Now, this is where she went wrong, okay? This is where she went wrong. And what she should have done is she should have said, hey, I don't have time for you. If you want to have any conversations with me, you're going to have it in the presence of my husband. You're going to have it in the presence of my man. You're going to have it in his presence, right? In other words, we're going to have this conversation together. It's not going to be as if only Chava is having the conversation. No. Her husband's going to be present, and we're going to have this conversation together. When you have that kind of attitude, I'm telling you, it nips a lot of things in the bud, right? It nips a lot of things in the bud. If you listen, fellas, if you are at work and you're talking to a fellow coworker, and she does not mention that she has a husband within the first few seconds of conversation, I feel like there's something wrong there, because and I know sometimes it can be business, and you don't need to know all my business. I understand that, right? I'm not saying tell all your business, but there's nothing wrong, women, with telling a man, hey, I have a husband, and you know what? I'm gonna let you know that in a sly way, I'm gonna let you know that I'm taken already, okay? Because in this particular instance, Chava is just having this conversation with the serpent, right? And notice what happens here. She said, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God said that ye shall not eat it, neither shall ye touch it, lest you die. Well, that was not entirely accurate. But anyway, let's just continue. And the serpent said unto the woman, see, now we've got dialogue between the both of them, okay? We've got dialogue between the both of them. And he said, God does know that when you eat it, that your eyes are going to be open, and you're going to be as gods, knowing good and evil. Now, look at verse number 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food. So in other words, what happened was the serpent ended up speaking to the woman in such a way, even so intimately, that it changes her perspective. It changes her perception. Now she's allowed this serpent into her ear and apparently into her heart, so that now her perception has changed. Okay? She's not looking at things the way that she used to, because someone got in her ear. Right? Someone got in her ear, started talking to her, and in verse number 6 we read that basically he talked her into looking at something that was good that she would normally stay away from. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? He talked to her so until she now saw that something was good that before she thought was bad. Women, the only person that you should allow to influence you on that deep of a level is the one that you are connected to covenantally, meaning your husband. No other man should be able to come in and to persuade you to such a degree that you're willing to make a life change, and you don't even consider your husband. You don't even have your husband. It's not like you're even one. You're like, hey, this is me. This is my decision. But wait a minute. You're supposed to be one with another individual. So it's not just you. Now it's the both of you. Okay? Now it's the both of you. And so it's not just you and what you want to do. Now it's both of you together, because you've made yourself one together, right? Well, Hava has had such a interesting conversation, right? That now she feels like, yeah, what used to be bad, now I can see as being good, right? What I was not supposed to do, and by the way, can I just say this? This was a very strong conversation and delusion. How do you know that? Because what she's talking about is under threat of death, right? So I want you to think about this in this sense. The serpent spoke with Eve so tough that he got her to even desire something that would put her life in danger. He got into her head so deep that she's like, you know what? I know that this is bad and I know this is supposed to kill me, but man, because of what he told me, man, this seemed like it's going to be so good. This seemed like this going to be so wonderful, right? And so what happens is, in this is every little girl, every little naive girl, every woman who believed a man that was a trickster, a man that was a liar, a man that was a manipulator, a man that was cunning, a man that just wanted one thing from her. He got into, this is every little woman and every little girl or a young lady that's ever been seduced by a man and then found out later that it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be, right? Especially if you are married like Hava was. Hava here crosses the line and she allows a outside party into the deepest depths of her mind and her heart, so much so that this outside party was able to convince her to do what would cost her her life, but she did it because she was mesmerized by what that character said. What a shame, right? What a shame. But how many times does this happen today? How many times does this happen today where a married woman or a married man ends up being seduced, if you will, by someone else? Now, listen, I'm going to tell you, listen, you know where adultery starts? Do you really know where? Adultery doesn't start in the bed, it starts in the head. Adultery doesn't start in the bed, it starts in the head. You know, the one that has your two ears to the left and to the right, that's where adultery starts. Because you begin to think about what the person said. Now, listen, I'm telling you, they don't have to look like anything. They don't have to look like, whoever you think is attractive, and either, if you think Idris Elba is attractive women, or if you think Beyonce or, Beyonce or somebody is attractive. Whoever you think, it doesn't have to be someone that's beautiful. If you have a man in trouble, listen, I'm going to go here for a second. If you have a man that has a wife or a girlfriend that's not treating him right, and a coworker or someone that, a friend, they friends, so it's all right. They can confide in each other. And next thing you know, they get to confiding in each other, and then she says, "Oh, see, you're such a good man, and I wouldn't, it's a shame that she's doing you that way. I don't see how she could do you that way. I would never do you that way." And next thing you know, you're down the slippery slope. Okay? It also works the other way around. The woman just wants a shoulder to cry on. Come on, y'all know how this game works. You know how the game works. Woman wants a shoulder to cry on, right? I won't tell you what they say about a shoulder to cry on. Okay? Because basically it's really explicit, but it communicates that a shoulder to ride on ends up being something else to ride on, right? A shoulder to cry on ends up becoming something else. You know what I mean? So you have to really be careful, women, who you share your heart with, and men, you got to be careful who you share your heart with. Chava, think about this for a second. If Chava had said, you know what, I'm not going to have any intimate. Listen, I'm not letting this clown into my business. I'm not letting this clown into my, It is none of his business. If he want to know what the Most High said, let him go ask the Most High. I don't have to answer his questions. I mean, if she had that kind of an attitude, then yeah, then everything would be different, right? Well, there was something going on here between them because there was a level of intimacy that began with conversation, right? And notice what it reads here. Verse 6, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Okay? So it says here in verse number 7, and the eyes of both of them were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. They hid themselves because now they're ashamed, right? Now there's an issue, and now things are different, and now, like I heard someone say, you can never unscramble an egg. Once an egg is scrambled, you cannot unscramble it. You've opened up Pandora's box, and now you can't close it. So here it is, where we have them experiencing things, okay? And I want you to see something here, because it says here that she took of the fruit and she ate, right? So she ate first. And then she went and she gave it to her husband, okay? Now, it says that her husband was with her, but her husband was not a part of the conversation. So either she went to her husband, or she was talking to the talking to the serpent, and then talking to her husband. In other words, spending time talking to the serpent, and then going and spending time with her husband. Okay. But she ate first. She ate first. And then the eyes of both of them were open. Okay. And if we look here at this particular scripture, I want you to see this real quick. After verse number 7, where both of their eyes were open, notice what it reads here in verse number 8. And they heard the voice of Yah Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yah Elohim amongst the trees of the garden. And, you know, I tell you, man, my cursor just, it does things, y'all. And Yah Elohim called unto Adam and said unto him, where are you? And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked. Okay? He says, I was afraid and I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, who told you that you were naked? He says, have you eaten from the tree, right? And of course, we know the story. But now, what I want you to see here is the curse that comes about between the woman and the serpent. Okay? And Yah Elohim said unto the woman, what is this that you have done? And the woman said, the serpent, but man, that serpent, that snake, the snake, basically, hey, he tricked me, right? And I did eat. And Yah Elohim said unto the serpent, because you have done this, you are cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon your belly shall you go. And by the way, it is a known fact that when you look at a snake, there is the imprint of where the feet used to be in the skin of the snake, even to this day. So there was a genetic change in the snake where it did used to have feet, okay, but it doesn't anymore. Wish I had a picture to show you, but anyway, next time. Okay, so it says, you know what, you're going to crawl upon your belly, and hey, you're going to use your tongue, and it's going to touch the dirt, and you're going to be eating dust. And verse number 15, and I will put, listen to this, verse number 15. You know some of the things that went on by the curses that the Most High dishes out unto the both of them, and I will put enmity or hatred between you and between the woman. Where there was or any kind of attraction, I'm going to put enmity against, in other words, I'm going to put hatred between the both of you. Okay? The only way that the Most High could punish them by means of putting hatred between the woman and the serpent is if there was some sort of attraction there. Okay? If there was some sort of attraction there. And apparently there was some sort of attraction there. And between your seed and her seed. So now we're saying, hey, wait a minute. Now we're talking about offspring. How do you talk about offspring in a conversation like this? Okay? How do you talk about offspring if there was nothing done to even bring the concept of offspring into the mix? Apparently, there was something to do, perhaps even with offspring in this. Maybe they did something that is connected to offspring. And notice what it reads: it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel, which is a sign and a token of the true enmity that's going to be between the woman's seed and the serpent seed. Now I know right along here, individuals are like, see, they said the woman's seed. So that's really talking about JC. No, it's not, because the Most High also mentions the seed of Sarah. Yeah. We have a call. Shalom. Peace and blessings to you.
Shalom,
Who's calling?
Shalom. This is Adrian. I had to grab my other phone because my main phone is having some difficulties, and so this is a business phone, so that's why you didn't notice me. But anyway, I was hearing you talk about the serpents and area where the feet used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And what was amazing, I said, maybe I should say this, but when you said that, it kind of triggered me. I said, let me call in and tell us about this. But I grew up in Arkansas, and my grandfather used to tell us, snakes used to walk on legs. We thought he was crazy. So one day we were out, and he lived in the country, and he shot a snake. And he gathered us around. He said, come here. He said, get a little gasoline and put it on him. So he put the gas on there, and he put it up on a fence, and he lit it. And I kid you not, when that fire burnt that snake, two little legs jutted out from the belly where...
Really?
That's why I was like, wow.
Wow.
So I know that to be true because I've seen it and have witnessed it.
Wow. Well, thank you for that, my brother. Hey, I appreciate that's better than a picture. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Shalom.
Shalom. Thank you, my brother. Wow. Yes. So there you have it. We have a witness. There's a witness in the house. Well, when we take a look and when we understand what's happening here, it is very deep, right? It is very deep. And you're like, well, wait a minute, man. We're talking about the Seventh Commandment. Yes, we are. And I'm showing you basically the mechanics of how the Seventh Commandment, how people can commit adultery, right? It starts not in the bed. It starts in the head. It starts with, oh, she's nice, he's nice, right? And bottom line of it is you're giving someone space that they do not deserve. You're giving someone space that belongs to your mate, to your loved one. You're giving someone else that space. Now, let me continue because we got a little bit of ways to go. I'm going to try to be done in 20 minutes. So unto the woman, he said, you know what? I'm going to greatly multiply your sorrow and thy conception. Okay? He says, I'm going to multiply your sorrow and your conception. In sorrow, you're going to bring forth children. Oh, so what was Kava and the serpent doing, perhaps, that again brings about the need to curse offspring and to curse the process of giving birth? And notice what it says here, and now your desire is going to be unto your husband. Before they were equal, they walked side by side. Now he says, now your husband is going to rule over you. Okay? And so when you have a blessed marriage that is as the covenant intended for it to be, I believe it is then that you can walk side by side and you can be together, making decisions together, ruling together, and you go back into the Genesis 1 verses 26 and 27 form of marital relationship where you're actually taking dominion and ruling together. Okay? But if you are worldly and waywardly, and basically the Most High says, you know what, your husband's going to rule over you, but it was not that way in the beginning. So in other words, we see here that for the Most High to tell her that your desire is going to be to your husband and he shall rule over you, this means that her desires were elsewhere before she was cursed, and she was not being ruled by her husband, but she was being ruled by herself. She was doing what she wanted to do, right? Women's lib, right? She was doing what she wanted to do. Well, that being the case, the Most High did curse, right? The Most High did curse Chava when it comes to childbearing and when it comes to the marital relationship. Okay? Now, I want you to see this because Adam is also in here, and we can then see Adam's part, right? Notice it says here, and unto Adam he said, because you have hearkened unto the voice of your wife, your Isha, and has eaten of the tree which I commanded you, saying, and here it's important because he commanded Adam, saying, hey, don't eat of it, right? He says, well, cursed is the ground for your sake. Now, I'm going to interject this, and this is I admit right here, I may be skating on thin ice right here, but I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Because of this curse, and as we unpack this and as we reverse engineer this, we see that Adam's curse is for the ground to be cursed, and now he's not able to produce. So was it that Adam was actually, while Eve was having the conversation with the serpent, was he out working rather than tending to his wife? Did he maybe see her talking to the serpent and decided to go and work and just, let that thing happen, right? Was he more concerned about producing from the ground, right? And then when his wife came to him, he listens to her and he eats. And so the Most High says, you know what? If you're so, and this is just me, but if you're so concerned about what you're going to get and how much you're going to produce, and you're concerned about work, yeah, now you're going to work and you're going to live by the sweat of your brow. Oh, you like work so much? Yeah. We're going to make sure that you work and work by the sweat of your brow. And it's not even going to produce for you, right? It's not going to produce for you. Verse number 18 reads, and thorns and thistles it shall bring up for you, right? Now, notice, Adam was not cursed when it came to anything related to childbirth or being able to conceive. Adam was not cursed, but Chava was, right? Okay, so Eve, Chava, ends up actually making a huge mistake, and it begins with her letting someone else in her head. Letting someone else in her head, okay? That being the case, if you keep a man out of your head, you can keep him out of your bed. I know. So now let's take a look at this and let's really take part in this and let's talk about it, because when it comes to the family relationship, in fact, let me say this first. When it comes to the family relationship, okay, now let me talk to the fellows here for a little bit, because I'm going to have to go back to Genesis, and I want you to see this. Okay, in going back to Genesis, I want you to see this because it is in chapter 2. Let me go back. So notice what the Most High said. in verse number 18. And Yah Elohim said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make a helpmeet for him. Now, for the man, what comes first before we have a mate is aloneness. Okay? Or let me put it to you this way. The needed perception of being alone. You have to feel like you're an individual. Okay? When you are alone or you are an individual, that is the time that you can, that's the time for you to check and see whether or not you're whole as an individual. An individual means that you are an indivisible duality. You're an individual, you're an indivisible, or you can't divide it, duality. You're a duality that cannot be divided. You have a body and you have a spirit, and those two are intermeshed as one. Okay? As a man, you have to take into account what's going on with you spiritually and naturally. You have to have a plan to take care of your body, take care of your finances, take care of the stuff that you own, right? But also take care of your mind, take care of your spirit, take care of your emotional state, okay? And know how to negotiate emotional states and your own thoughts and your own fears, as well as you learn how to negotiate the other things in life, if not more so. Why is that important? It's important because when you find someone and marry them, you've just multiplied yourself. Okay, wait a minute. Remember here where the Most High said it's not good that man should be alone. What did he do? He actually took Adam, okay? Verse number 21, and Yah Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh thereof, and of the rib or the flesh he made a woman and brought her unto the man, and said, you are now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. In other words, when Adam said, you are now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, what he was saying, a different way of saying what he was saying, you, woman, you are me. You are me. You are me. You are a version of me. You're a version of me. You're a version of me. You are me. You are bone of my bone. You are flesh of my flesh. Okay? So then marriage is the multiplication of self. Wait for it. Marriage is the multiplication of self. The condition and state that you're in when you find that person and when you marry them, you are going to duplicate that. Which is why you need to be whole and you need to work on yourself before you get somebody. Because marriage is the duplication of self. And if you don't work on yourself and you end up attracting someone that's at that level, when you grow to a higher level, you're going to leave them behind. Okay? So it's important for you to realize marriage is the multiplication, it's the first level of the multiplication of self. Okay? Then you come together and you have children, and the second level of multiplication of self, you come together, the masculine self comes together with the feminine self, you come together, the greatest picture representing the Most High, you come together, and what do? You create life. Now you've multiplied yourself again, okay? This is the tertiary level of multiplication of self. Right? When this continues and there are more kids and there are more families, then we have the multiplication of self that comes to not just a family, but a community. Then you multiply communities and you have a nation. But it all begins with the man, and it begins with the woman, and it begins with each individual looking into themselves and making sure that they are whole, okay? because it is important to note that the Most High is watching the union. Let's go here real quick. I'm just about done. Let's go here. And there's much more that I can say that I'm not saying, but let's just go here for right now. Malachi 2 and 14. Because Yah hath been witness between you and the wife of your youth, against whom you have dealt treacherously. You have been treacherous when it comes to how you deal with the wife of your youth. Okay? Yet is she thy companion and the wife of thy covenant. You see that? Isn't that interesting? Where the Most High comes into the marital relationship, right? It's where, remember, the Most High said it's not good that man should be alone, right? And he says, I will make a helpmeet for him. Marriage comes from the Most High. It is what the Most High has designed and ordained for us. Okay, it is of him. Therefore, he should be the one to dictate all the parameters and everything that goes on when it comes to the marital relationship, okay, and not the state, not a government, not some fictitious entity that's made legal by paper. No. You two come together and you have a covenant before the Most High. That is what your marriage is. That is what it is, right? It is a covenant between you and the Most High. And like every covenant, now often we've said, you know what, marriage is like a contract. We sell it too cheap when we say that it's a contract, because people break contracts left and right today. It is a covenant. It is an agreement. It is an oath before the Most High that you swear to die if you do not uphold it. That's what a covenant is. And marriage is a covenant. Okay? Now, if we treated it that way, it would be a lot different. Today we live in a society, and I don't have to tell you, but they have been gunning for the family on every turn, everywhere you look, they're gunning for the family. There was a song that I used to like, okay, because I like not the lyrics, I like the music, I like the flow. But when I listen to the words, as a makeshift / hack musician, I like to, I like the music. I like to hear the beat, right? Well, when I started listening to the words, and I'm listening to the song, and this woman is saying, all I do is think about you even when I'm with my boo. It's like they're putting out in the media, they're putting out things that are purposefully warring against the family, warring against the union, warring against having a covenant between a man and a woman. There's so many things that lend itself to adultery. Right now, there's a mindset, well, and listen, people have said it to me, everybody cheats, everybody commits adultery. No, they don't. I don't. Okay? I'm sure that many of you here following the Most High, you would also say that, no, I don't do that either. I don't flow with that. Why? Because it would be breaking the Seventh Commandment. Well, if we were to, and I have just a couple more things I'm going to say, then I'm going to let it go. It's important for us to realize that this is a covenant, right? But there are safeguards. I mean, there's a reason why we covenant with a woman so that she would be mine and I would be hers. And we vow to honor that bond and that union before the Most High. Listen, this affects the nation. It affects the society. It affects the community, and it affects the economy. It affects the entire foundation of everything that we are as a people. And if we don't stand on a higher standard than others, okay? If we don't stand on a higher standard than others, then we will fall just like everyone else is. Okay? Let me read the rest of this verse, and then we're going to move on. In verse number 15, and did not he make one Yet had he the residue of the Spirit, and wherefore one, that he might seek a godly seed. In other words, the Most High put you together to be one. He wanted you to be one because he wants a godly seed out of you, right? So he wants both of you to be righteous, both of you to be holy, because he wants a godly seed. Therefore, take heed to your spirit, and let none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth. Okay? That's not what you are to do. For Yah, Elohim of Israel, said, I hate putting away, for one covereth violence with his garment, says Yah Sabaoth. Therefore, take heed to your spirit that ye deal not treacherously. Again, as I said before, adultery does not start in the bed, it starts in the head. Okay? Which is another reason why, you really do need to be honest with each other. Open up and be honest with each other. Because you could be thinking thoughts, man, I'm sick of her. Sick of him. Can't stand him. But then you smile in his face. Be honest, right? Be honest, be open, and tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop in the chat room. And one of the last things I'm going to say is this. The Seventh Commandment also affects and bleeds into the Eighth Commandment, which is thou shalt not steal. What? Yes, thou shalt not steal. How so? When you steal, you are violating the community because you're doing a number of different things at once. And let me tell you what you're doing. You're saying, I'm taking what's not mine, okay? And when a man takes the wife of another brother, or a woman takes the husband of another brother, okay? Even though they may be consenting in their sin, you're still taking away from the community because you're taking intimacy and love and physical activity that does not belong to you. You can steal more than money. Okay? And just like Hava, her first level of adultery was emotional and mental and psychological. Okay? Many women boast about, I've never committed adultery. But you've let someone else into your head. You've had conversations that were intimate. You felt them from the heart. You started feeling a certain way. And this has gone too far. You need to stop it. Okay? So it bleeds into the Eighth Commandment, which is stealing, because you're stealing someone else's wife, and it is something that the Most High is not pleased with. And, of course, as you know, for individuals that would commit adultery, it was a capital offense. You died the death if you were caught, because it is so destructive to the family, and it's so destructive to the nation itself. Okay? That being the case, let me do this. Let me go into the chat room and see what you all are talking about, because I'm going to shut it down right there. There's more that I could say, but hey, we're just going to shut it down right there. Yeah. You all are having some good conversations. Now, again, if there is anything that is you want to ask me, or you want me to read or recognize, by all means, you have to put my name in there, and then I will recognize it. Otherwise, I will think that you're having a conversation with someone else in the chat room. So yeah. So I'm looking. Let's see here. Let me scroll up and let me see if I can find. Okay. Okay, I'm just looking. Okay. Okay, so one of the first questions I see is Josh and Penny ask, Melchia, did Eve even know what death was? She had never seen it. That is a good question, and I think that there was some sort of at least an idea. She definitely didn't know what it was intimately, which, by the way, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was experiential knowledge. It was intimate knowledge that was experiential. Okay, it's just like when it reads in the Tanakh, it says, "And Adam knew Eve, and they bare a son." Well, yeah, that's intimate knowledge that comes through experience. Okay, experience all 100% of whatever it is that you are experiencing. And so she did not know what death was, because you're right, she never experienced it. But at the same time, I think that there was at least some sort of inkling. She knew that it wasn't good, and she knew that it was going to be something that, was of a heavy price. Um, So my brother Adrian says that, Murray, this is something the people in church need to hear. Far too often, pastor said, trumps the husbands. Yes. Oh man, very, very true. What pastor said overrides what the husband says, right? Well, it's a shame. And there are many women that have a thing for their pastors. I mean, because of that, right? Especially, listen, don't even get to counseling. That in that counseling session, look, Reverend Fatback need to have the missus there with him when he's counseling females, right? If not, she be the one that counsels the females and he counsels the men. Because I'm telling you, you get to, crying on the pastor's shoulder and, oh, let me. Yeah, we know how that goes, right? Remember a shoulder to cry on? Yeah, yeah. Looking for. I'm looking for. Okay, I don't see camps or email. Peace and blessings to you. Glad that you're here. Pamela, Aline, peace and blessings to you as well. Man, my brother keeps me laughing. Oh my goodness. Okay, okay. All right. So as I look through this, I have a starting point. I'm looking for my name so that I can address any questions or any comments. And then we're going to let you enjoy the rest of your day. Okay. All right, all right. We're doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Uh, you all are funny, by the way. Extremely funny, man. All right, so, well, Damon for you says this lesson was fire. Well, thank you, my brother. Hey, I appreciate it. George Evans says, "Oh, have you heard that is? Oh my goodness, what happened to that? Have you heard that Israel was really in East Africa?" Yes, I have. I've heard that Israel was and is a part of Africa yet and still, which some say is noted by the tectonic plates that before the Pangea, before the coming together of the continents, you had the what we call Israel or Palestine actually belonging to Africa before the again before the moving of the continents. So yeah, I did hear that, right? I did hear that. Um, all right, continuing, moving on down. My brother George Evans also asked, um, may the Dead Sea Scrolls be the original manuscript from the Torah and the Tanakh? The Dead Sea Scrolls are well, okay, let me put it to you this way. At best, they are a versional copy. What do I mean by that? They have um, some have called them declensions. Some have called them basically different. Okay, for instance, in the Qumran library, which came out of the temple when The Seleucids demanded that we use the lunar calendar as opposed to the solar calendar. They said, look, okay, you don't want to do what I want you to do, you're out, right? So they began to put their own priests in, their own high priest, their own. And so the original documents that were really in the temple at first, that was in the women's quarters, they took all of those documents out, and that became the beginning of the Qumran library. And from there, they began to store more and more documents, okay? And so the 175 BCE date of the Qumran community and scrolls lets you know that it was basically them trying to make sure that the Romans did not get their documents and their materials, and that they did not destroy it. Now, this is also true because the 400-year period, what they call the 400 silent years or the dark years, whatever, they purposely wanted to hide the truth so that they could manipulate it, and then no one would know any different, right? Because it would literally have been generations since anyone saw the Tanakh or anyone saw anything. So it would have been easier for them to do their plan. Well, the more ancient writings are much older than the writings of the Dead Sea Scrolls. In fact, they found a silver scroll that was an ornament on the priest's garments that was actually older than the Dead Sea Scrolls. And so the Dead Sea Scrolls, though, are supposed to be very accurate in giving us an understanding of how the scribes copied and kept the tradition going. And it really is wonderful, especially when you look at the Isaiah scroll. Almost, I mean, there are a few very minor differences, but basically word for word, over thousands of years, it remained the same, without any computers, without any hard drives. It remained the same. And I'll just leave that right there. Let me continue to look. The question my sister asked me: would you purchase a prayer shawl from the Jews? I did purchase a prayer shawl, but it was messianic. It had a cross on it, and it had the Star of Ramthun, or they call the Star of David. So no, I had to put it away. I don't even wear it, right? I don't even wear it. Now, if I had one that was correct and that did not violate the Most High and that was not steeped in idolatry, then yeah, then I would. I would get a prayer shawl. Jay Denton in the house. Peace and blessings to you. Shalom, More. Can you briefly speak on divorce in Israel? Okay, yes, I can. The process of divorce is now, okay, there are some of us in Israel who, as far as marriage is concerned, some of us believe in still having the state involved in our marriages. The state actually looks at you as a corporation, okay, and not a flesh and blood individual, not a flesh and blood human being. And so when you get divorced, it's why you have to split the assets 50-50, because when corporations dissolve, okay, there has to be an equal, if you will, accounting of affairs. And so they split everything down the middle, 50-50. This society and this state also lends itself towards divorce when it says, we're going to have no fault divorces. So now anything can happen. You can leave for any reason at any time. You could say, I'm not happy. You could say, he scores the toothpaste from the middle instead of the bottom. And a court would not care if that was your reason for divorce. It doesn't matter what it is. Divorces have been made easy because there is warfare against the family. So in Israel, if you have a covenant before the Most High, And number one, these are the reasons why divorce may take place in Israel. If the man who has more than one, if a man has chosen to have more than one wife, if he does in any way violate her food, her raiment, her domicile, her place of stay, right? And the duty of marriage, okay? You know what that is. We're talking about the physically coming together between a man and a woman. If he diminishes those things, according to the scripture, she can be like, see ya, saranara, I'm out, right? Or if he finds some wickedness and some uncleanness in her that she is, I'm going to say that she's unrepentant of and refuses to repent, then he can write her a bill of divorce, right? He can write her a bill of divorce. Um, and it would come from the man. He would write the bill of divorce. And what he would put on there 3 times, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you, hand it to her. And then she would have to go back to her daddy's house if she has a daddy. Okay? And the moment that she leaves his house, that is the divorce. Okay? That is the divorce. And then both of them can then go out and find someone else and marry them. Okay? I don't want to be naive to think that, that we in Israel, that we don't divorce. No, listen, I know better than that. I would think that we have more sense. But hey, I know for a fact that, I'm just going to leave that right there. My sister Jacqueline asks, what would be a proper offering for Passover? I'm going to put it to you plain. We are not able, my sister Jacqueline asked this question, we're not able to really keep Passover as we are supposed to because, one, we have no temple, we have no priesthood. We can't present our lamb before the priest, which is supposed to be done on the 10th, okay? On the 10th of Adar. Well, there's many things that we can't follow. There's many things that we can't do. Okay. Now, for those of us that are at least trying to symbolize Passover, I'm just simply going to say, hey, I would, as far as the meal is concerned, I feel like lamb is always in order, right? I haven't had lamb in a while. I should really get me some lamb. Now you're talking about it, making me think about it. Um, and it's really controversial whether or not we are to keep the feast days, all of the feast days, while we are in captivity. Um, Another question comes about. George Evans asks, the Kittim was known as the Romans, but could they also have been known as the Mandeans and the Sabians as well? Well, you did have some of the Mandeans and the Sabians that were definitely of the Kittim or the Chittim. Definitely speaking. However, um, the Mandeans and the Sabians, if I remember correctly, they were of an Eastern European mix, if you will. Okay, and yeah, I think that there is a definite connection there, right? But not wholly and not entirely. Okay, you're not going to say that all of the Kittim were Mandeans and Sabians, or all of the Mandeans and Sabians were of the Kittim. You can't say that. I don't think that would be accurate. Okay, but there was definitely some mixing there. All right, and you know what? I think that, and you are welcome. And so my sister asked, she says, but he keeps the kids in divorce. Yes, true, true. My sister Kanaya Israel asks, do you keep any other of the feast, like atonement? I love to observe the the various feasts that I can. I love to observe them. However, you are not, because, listen, because one, there is no temple. Two, because we are in exile, okay? And there is even a question. Oh man, see, I don't want to open up that can of worms. But anyway, because we're in exile and because we have no temple, it is not, listen, it is not mandatory that we keep every feast, okay? What happens is, again, we have to understand there's many of us that are trying to keep the feast of the Most High, and that's good that we desire to do so. But again, remember Nadab and Abihu. They changed the process of what the Most High wanted in their temple services, and the Most High killed them for it. Now, I'm not saying that the Most High is going to kill you if you try to keep Passover, you try to keep Sukkot, or you try to keep, I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is the Most High does want you to do things correctly. And I would rather do them correctly and have everything there and everything in place than to just do something, kind of like halfway. Because I know that the Most High doesn't like that at all, right? I know that He doesn't like that at all. Um, my sister says, I want to make coriander flatbread. They would go well with the lamb and some baked sweet potatoes, as well as some broccolini or grilled garlic Brussels sprouts. Lord have mercy, she talking all this food, y'all, and I ain't ate yet. Oh my goodness. Um, so yeah, that sounds absolutely wonderful. Some coriander flatbread. Oh my goodness, coriander is absolutely wonderful. I use coriander whenever I feel like making chicken pot pies. It just does something to it. Um, okay, let me go all the way down. Okay, well, you know what? I think I've answered all of your questions. I want to say peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Hey, I love you all. I love you all, my family. And I want to say that once again, I got to thank you because you've given me your time, you've given me your attention. And when I come back, we're going to do just a little bit of a conclusion and then we're out of here. Okay? Here we go. Hi, I'm Melchior Uriel, and I'm so delighted to meet you. I'm glad that you stopped by. I'm glad that you're curious, and I'm glad that you clicked on the video. The Seventh Commandment is the key to us being a nation and to us being the people that the Most High desired. Remember, when the Most High began and created us as a nation, it started with the family. And yes, it started with a man, he and his wife, and from them, we have become who we are. Family is so important. Never, never turn your back on family, but stand for your family and follow the laws, statutes, and the commandments of the Most High, and allow the Most High to bless you as a member of your own family. Granted, within the family is where you first understand the rudiments of the world and how the world works. Yes, you will be mistreated by some family members for that reason. And I want to say the family is so important to the Most High that he gave Abram a promise. He says, through you, all the families of the earth are going to be blessed. A nation is no more than a collection of families that have been, if you will, organized into communities. And the very foundation of family itself begins with the seventh commandment, which is, you shall not commit adultery. You shall not commit adultery means that each party understands the covenant that they've made before the Most High, that the marriage is not the piece of paper, but the marriage is the heartfelt commitment, the oath, and the covenant that has been made between them. And the power of the marriage is when individuals realize that the other individual is not someone foreign, but it is a multiplication of themselves. That is a part of me. Once again, if an individual will understand that marriage is the first level of multiplication of self, he will then treat himself correctly by honoring the mate that he holds to his bosom or that she embraces. It is important for us to recognize the family, and it begins with us being faithful to our commitments and faithful to that other individual that we love. For those of you that feel like, well, I've been married a while, and you know what, it's just, we're kind of settled and it's kind of humdrum, and, maybe your eye would get, something would hit your eye and you look at another individual, or you look at a man, or you look at a woman, especially when you're away from your mate. Please understand that your mate is an endless individual, and there are dimensions of them that you have not seen. There's dimensions of them that you have not even recognized. There is so much more to them. Yes, you may be used to the surface, but there is so much more that is there that you need to discover, that you need to probe, and that you need to embrace and understand. Please understand that marriage is so important to Israel. Marriage is important, and the sanctity of the covenant is also important, because out of it we are able to give life and multiply. When you uphold the seventh commandment and you do not commit adultery, you are blessing the community. You're blessing the economy of Israel, and you are doing what the Most High desire. How wonderful it is to love the individual that the Most High has given you, to be in covenant with them, to walk with them, and to say with them, hey, it's you and me against the world. And you're going to protect each other's relationship. You're not going to allow anyone to get into your head. And if it comes to talking to the opposite sex, you're going to do that in the presence of your mate, so that you protect the sanctity of what you have, which is golden. Well, peace and blessings to you. I got to read this. Oh, by the way, my sister Jacqueline Buggs asked, do you think that if Israel left here, we would go to the wilderness first? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. In one way or another, let me put it that way. Hanaya Israel says, my husband and I just celebrated 18 years of marriage on Sunday. My 38th birthday was Sunday as well. Wow. Wow. That is absolutely amazing. That is beautiful. Congratulations to you, Hanaya Israel. Man, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. I love you guys very much. I may the Most High bless you as well, Josh and Penny. I'm going to say, hey, it's been real. It's been wonderful. I love you all. May the Most High bless you throughout this week until the Most High blesses us to come back again. Shalom. Oh, Jay Denton says, great topic and discussion as always. Toda More. Thank you very much, Jay Denton. I love you all. I'm out. Peace and blessings to you.